Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of the Gripe Session podcast. I want to thank everybody for checking in again. Hopefully, you're getting some valuable information from this podcast, and we definitely appreciate you checking us out. As always, please don't forget, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Apple Podcasts, please make sure you give us a rate and review. That being said, if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, or just have a question, hey, feel free to DM me on the social media links that you see listed below. And with that in mind, let's get into today's episode.
It's Gripe Session time with your host, George Wonica.
It's about nothing.
Discussing everything from real estate, current events, a little bit of everything, and the annoying little things that just tick you off.
You can't handle the truth.
What? You didn't know?
Here's your host, George
Your
Wonica.
ass better call somebody.
So, it's been a while since I've done a true Gripe Session podcast. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been really biting my tongue, which seems like a lot, unfortunately. And there's a reason why I've been biting my tongue. Yes, we are in a new age of technology. Yes, we are in a new age and trying to do new things with new technologies and different ways of doing business. But the fact that I've been in business for the last 30 years, there are certain things that just rub me the wrong way, as I'm sure they rub you the wrong way as well. And one of the things that I hear used all the time when it comes to business, whether it comes to personal, whether it comes to organizational, whether it comes to pretty much any part, is people forgetting where they came from. And what I'm talking about in regards to people forgetting where they came from is once somebody receives some form of success, whether it be personally, whether it be professionally, whether it be within an organization, they always seem to forget the people and how they got there. In some cases, it's listening to the people. In other cases, it's working with people. And all of a sudden, they feel that because they've been anointed to this pedestal, that they now have to make themselves completely different from the person that they were previously. And what's really started to grow old for me, with some things that I've seen go on for the last couple of weeks, and one of them, quite honestly, got me very, very agitated, is the fact that we're forgetting our past. Well, we're going to get right back to the Gripe Session podcast, but before we do, we got to have a word from our sponsors over here at bestguyever.com. Make sure you never forget an important date ever again. Never forget any important dates with your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother, or your mother-in-law for that matter. We want you here to be the bestguyever.com. And by the way, bestguyever.com helps your local small businesses. So it is a win-win for you. Not only can you be the bestguyever.com for those people that love you, but you can also support your local small businesses because bestguyever.com only deals with local small businesses. That's right. So make sure you get to www.bestguyever.com and subscribe. And by the way, let them know that you found out from us from the Gripe Session podcast. And because you're coming from the Gripe Session, we were able to get you a little bit of a deal for them as well. What's that deal, you say? Well, once you register, put in Gripe Session in the promo code. That's Gripe Session. And you're going to get 1 year free subscription to be the best guy ever. That's right. 1 free subscription by putting in Gripe Session in your promo code, and you're going to get a year for free. You can't have it any better than that. So make sure you go check out bestguyever.com and let them know the Gripe Session pulled you in. And now, back to our local program. We are forgetting about the people that helped elevate us to the positions, the business mentors, the mentors in general. A lot of big buzzwords in the entrepreneurial space nowadays having to do with mentors and teams and all sorts of other types of things. There have always been people that have helped people take the next step. that have tried to help mold people into productive, whether it be people in society, whether it be business people, whether it be organizational people, whether it be anything in general. And the sad part of where we are right now, that over the last week I got real, well, let's be real, ladies and gentlemen, pissed off about, is some of these people are not being given their due just. They're not being given the accolades that many of them, not a lot of them, deserve. Okay? And we could get into a whole different podcast about that. I've talked about my feelings on awards and things of that nature. The thing that seems to irk me a lot more, though, is more of the fact of that we are trying to give these people the accolades after they're no longer here. They're gone. They've passed on. From what I've taken over the last year or two, all of our days are numbered, ladies and gentlemen. And as unfortunate as that is, it's one date that we can't put off. It's coming for all of us. And the fact that a lot of people are waiting to be recognized when they're no longer here or posthumously is an absolute and complete joke. Some people might listen to this podcast or watch this on one of the social medias and draw some conclusions as to who, what, and where I'm talking about. I will tell everybody here right now. I don't care who you think I'm talking about. I don't care what you think I'm talking about. In all likelihood, you're probably wrong. But if you feel free, you want to reach out to me and find out if there was any specific instances. And quite honestly, it wasn't just one. Hey, we're just going to take a real quick break from the Grape Session. We're going to get right back to it, but we want to bring you another word from one of our sponsors here, which is SearchStatenIsland.com. Yes, one of the things that I do every single day is I'm a real estate practitioner. I am a licensed realtor. I am a appraiser. I'm also a mortgage broker. So why do you ask any of those questions? Well, quite frankly, because if you have any questions on real estate in any part of the country, all you have to do is reach out to me. Go to www.searchstatenisland.com or find me on the social media platforms. And there's a very good opportunity that I'll be able to help you regardless of whether or not if you're in New York where I'm home based, or if you're someplace out in, whether it be Utah or Texas or somebody out there, there's a very good chance that I will be able to help you regardless, because I have contacts throughout the country and I would be able to make sure my clients are always taken care of. So make sure you check out www.searchstatenisland.com. And now back to our program. So a lot of people's guilty consciences happen to come up when videos like this come out, and they're like, well, I think that I'm being talked about here. Well, guess what? Maybe you're not, maybe you are, but maybe you just have a really guilty conscience. And if you got a guilty conscience, it normally means that this is speaking directly to you. So I just wanted to throw it out there because, as we all know, sometimes it takes a bad situation or a tragedy to look at things at a different light. And the fact of the woulda, shoulda, coulda, I should have done this, I would have done this, if I could go back and talk to this person one more time, until you can't. So this podcast and video today is kind of gone all over the place, and it's throwing a lot of things at people. But as I said on one of my last podcasts and one of my posts on social media, is one of the things that I was thankful for last year is I was thankful for all of the good that happened in last year, but I was also thankful for the bad, because it made me appreciate all of the good that was going on. So with that being said, I've become a little bit more reflective. I'm sorry for that, for people thinking, oh, wow, we're not getting the fun George where he's ripping on people and, not saying their names and stuff like that. There was some of that in this episode, so you're just going to have to pick it apart and kind of see if you can figure out what it is. But with that being said, I hope you're getting some value from these episodes. If you have a question or a topic that you'd like me to definitely hit on, do me a favor, drop me a comment in the video below, or send me a message on the social medias that you see just down there. And don't forget, make sure you got to do me a favor. When you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or any of the other ones, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast and or subscribe to this channel on YouTube. It helps us out a lot. Make sure you subscribe and like, so anytime there's a new episode, you're going to get notified right away. And if you're doing it on the podcast version, on the audio version, if you click on to subscribe to the podcast, it'll automatically show up in your podcast feed whenever a new episode drops. With that being said, do something nice for somebody you wouldn't normally do, and we'll catch you on the next edition of the Gripe Session.
Thanks for listening to the Gripe Session. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.